So I'm going to be honest, I was disappointed on Friday with this UFO disclosure. Even the new name bothers me, how we now have to call them UAPs and not UFOs anymore. Like, guys, the name was fine. Just like they are still homeless people. They're not the unhoused. Democrats want us to call them the unhoused. They're homeless, okay? They don't have homes. They're homeless. On Friday, I realized that they are going to continue jerking us around until we stop asking questions, or until there's a new president. On Friday, we got 160 files, 28 videos, and 14 really blurry photographs, all bad videos that could be anything. In one account, here was a quote from Buzz Aldrin describing something he saw out of the spacecraft when he was on the moon, a, quote, fairly bright light source from Buzz Aldrin. That's what he said. They released that. Like, wow, great. But while all that was happening on Friday, on the same day, all that was being released, our next guest said this just down the street from the White House at the National Press Club.
The problem is, and this I want to be clear about, there are two governments. There's the government you know about, we elect and appoint. There's a shadow or secret government that is actually running this. And that is not a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. We can prove it.
Okay, that is Dr. Stephen Greer, founder of the Disclosure Project, 25 years running now. Dr. Greer, great to have you back. So basically, you are saying that Donald Trump does not have all the information that he should have. Is that correct?
He has a great deal more than what was released, but he doesn't have all of it. And it's because of the compartmented nature in an illegal covert program that happened in the 1950s. We've been saying this for 30 years. So what I understand, he's going to release more in various tranches every few weeks, but we're still working to be sure that he can penetrate these compartmented operations more fully. So I have a team of people working with them, but I think people should not think that the president can wave a magic wand and everything comes out. Well, but yes, they have a lot more than what has been shown. So I think this was sort of a testing of the waters. But our archive, the Disclosure Project archive,
has a testing of the waters,
more.
Dr. Greer. I'm sorry. Like, how many times are we going to do this since Roswell in the late 1940s? Like,
no one's more frustrated than me. Yeah, I mean, look, I gave up my medical career.
What is so mind-boggling in these files that they don't want humanity to know about? And by the way, they don't have the right to make that decision.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think this is the real problem is. The reason we have the Disclosure Project is a check and balance against what the government does or doesn't do. But I think if people were at the National Press Club on Friday, they would have gotten vastly more information than they did from the tranche of files.
Friday was pathetic, Dr. Greer. Friday was pathetic.
Yeah,
I saw it and I laughed, and we honestly canceled a segment. We did one segment about it Friday night, but I was like, I can't go to air with this because this is a joke. I'm going to explode if I have to try to defend what was just released. Nothing was released. Let me ask you this. Who's in charge of this other government that doesn't answer to Donald Trump?
Well, there are various corporations and then compartmented operations within CIA, the alphabet soup of agencies, and DOW that run these programs. But they're very highly compartmented. And the other problem is that there are people currently in top administrative posts in the intelligence community that are, quite frankly, being blackmailed, one of them with Epstein file videos. And so we're not going to getting a lot of cooperation from those quarters because they're terrified to go into prison. So I think this is a much more complicated problem than we have time to unpack here.
Or they're terrified of getting killed, Dr. Greer. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that yourself, by the way?
Of course.
13 scientists, doctors have been murdered or are missing. Or, have you thought about that?
Of course. I've dealt with this since the 90s, and I have had people on my team assassinated, to be frank. And so, yes, I mean, it's something, of course, my family and I are aware of. But the bigger problem is, what does the president really have currently? I know some of what he has. It's a lot more than what you saw. They have material.
Well, okay, then let me just, in the interest of time, and I don't want people at home to get upset. I'm not meaning to interrupt you, and you and I are friendly off the air as well, but I just want to get this. What is it? What is coming that they couldn't release Friday, that they've got to wait like 3 weeks before we get like, ooh, a picture of an alien or something? When do we see what they have? When do we get the truth about this?
They have videos and files of the craft up close, extraterrestrial, and the man-made ones, which are the dominant ones people see. And the big secret isn't the, quote, alien part. It's the covert programs using advanced reverse engineered technologies. And that's what even members of Congress I'm working with have been threatened for looking into.
Okay.
And you know who some of them are.
I
but
do.
They don't want to talk about that.
Here's a couple of the photos that we got released on Friday. We were just showing them. I mean, I saw this stuff, and I was like, who took this? The same guy that filmed the Sasquatch thing from the 1960s?
Right.
Like, oh, they're like, oh, look at that. That looks like something we saw in Egyptian hieroglyphics. I was like, no, it doesn't.
Right.
That looks like an error through the camera or something. Like, what is, that's nothing right there. What? Okay. Let me just ask you this.
I agree with you.
You called Friday a trial balloon. I can buy that, okay? And that a lot more is coming. So what specifically, besides what you just told me, do you think is coming, and why this like slow release of whatever it is?
Because there are people around him, like former aerospace CEO Bob Bigelow, who are saying do a soft release, don't rattle the cage too much, don't upset people. And so they're doing this sort of trial, small release. And I don't agree with it. I've advised against it because the credibility of the office of the president is at stake now. And I think it needs to be done properly and more quickly.
Yeah, so two things. One, by the way, there's a rumor on the internet that that aliens, not UAPs, aliens, people from other planets, okay, whatever you want to call them, lizard people, Nordics, whatever they are, I don't know. They're not demons, are they, Dr. Greer?
Oh, no, they're not demons.
Okay. There's a rumor online. Oh, those are demons. Stop that. Stop. That's ridiculous.
No, it's ridiculous.
Here's my thought on disclosure. This is just Rob Finnerty thought. Does disclosure only really happen when Donald Trump steps to a microphone like in the Oval Office and tells the public what's really going on? Because what we got Friday was a bunch of random videos of nothing, and everyone said, see, there it is, look at this, most transparent Oval Office ever. I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Well, no, I mean, actually, Project Blue Book in the 60s released better information. My archive has better photos, videos, and documents.
I have a disposable camera at home, undeveloped, that has better photos of something.
Absolutely. And so this is why I think doing it this way, they're just going to lose credibility if they don't step up to the plate and release what some of the information I know they have. I know that Secretary Hegseth and other people have obtained more distinct evidence, but it's not being released. And so I think you're right. I think we need to demand that they not try to gaslight us on this.
Well, just be honest with us. Don't tell us you're going to do one thing and then release that in a four-word quote from Buzz Aldrin saying, "We saw a fairly bright light." Thanks, Buzz. Great stuff. Dr. Greer, good to see you as always. You're tip of the spear on this stuff, and I really appreciate you you keeping us informed. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.